What's up, everybody? Tom Pelissero here in Mankato. 4 days, 6 practices in the books. Obviously, at the beginning of camp, we looked at all those guys who were going to be on the bubble. Let's talk about who's rising and falling at this very early stage of training camp. The number one guy I'd say is rising, 5th-round draft pick Chris DeGeare, the guard from Wake Forest. He's a guy who's big, he's strong, he's athletic. He fell in the draft because of a bunch of concerns, foremost being consistency. He's shown it out here so far, worked in with the first team today, won a couple of reps in one-on-ones against All-Pro Kevin Williams. I've come away impressed, and I've also talked to people who say that when they look at the coach's tape at night, he really jumps out at you and is definitely a guy to watch. He's also going to work in some at right guard, and you wonder if long-term they're looking at him as a guy, if he does develop that consistency, could eventually replace either Anthony Herrera or Steve Hutchinson down the line. Number 2 guy who's rising, Logan Payne, the former Gophers receiver. He's kicked around the NFL for a few seasons now, was a signing out of the rookie camp. He's come on every single practice, going all the way back to OTAs. He continually makes one play of practice, it seems like, that makes you say, wow, he had a diving catch already in camp, had another long catch today. He's a guy who just finds ways to adjust to the football in the air. Seems to have a knack for receiving. He's a guy to watch if they decide that they want one more guy with pass-catching ability. The 3rd player on the list also is another receiver, Ray Small, the rookie from Ohio State, a guy who had issues at Ohio State, durability being one of them. He's not a big guy, but does have that short-range quickness. Has shown more receiving ability than I expected after not having seen him because he was finishing school at Ohio State and missed all the OTAs. Where it's really going to be interesting with Ray Small is watching him when the pads go on and when he tries to go in the return game in a live tackling environment. If he can make some people miss, I wouldn't rule him out. That's why I had him as a sleeper going all the way back to my camp preview series. Some guys that are falling, number 1 has to be Jaymar Johnson. It's really tough to imagine that, in essence, a backup punt returner, no matter his speed, no matter his physical capabilities, can stick on this roster when you can't put him out there as a receiver. And right now, you can't. He has more drops than anybody else in camp, had a couple more bad ones today. You just see bad things happening when the ball is thrown in Jaymar Johnson's direction. Now, to his credit, he did bounce back from a really bad drop early in the morning practice, I believe it was today, and came down with a couple of balls deep. The thing with him is he's got to be able to make the easy catch more consistently, and he's got to make the tough catch more often. It can't just be when he blows by someone that he can haul in the long ball. Number 2, Ryan Moats, who maybe doesn't even belong on the falling list because he never was that high to begin with. When the Vikings signed him off the street after Houston cut him, I think we all looked at Moats and said, here's a guy who, with his familiarity with Childress's offense, he played there in Philadelphia, maybe he's going to be the guy who pushes for the number 3 job. Instead, it's been Albert Young, who is another guy who came in on the bubble and could be on the risers list. Young has grasped the opportunity. Moats looks like he's finished, honestly, at this point. He hasn't even been able to get in on the team drills. You see him every once in a while. He's absolutely taking scraps. It's really tough to imagine that he's going to come on enough against much younger players to be able to make this roster. And then the number 3 guy, another guy who never was that high, Ryan D'Imperio. I thought that he was probably a long shot coming into camp just because of the conversion from linebacker. He's a tallish guy to be playing fullback. You just wonder, he hasn't shown the bending ability yet. He hasn't shown that he can get a better base, play with better leverage. Those are all things he has to do. I watched him in his one-on-one pass blocking rep today against Heath Farwell, and he got absolutely whipped by Farwell, who doesn't really even play on defense. No, D'Imperio has not made the progress yet. You wonder if in 1 month that's going to be enough time for him to put himself into the picture, barring injuries to other guys at the fullback position. My best guess right now is he's destined for the practice squad. Back tomorrow with plenty more content at 1500ESPN.com, and of course another daily camp report. I'm Tom Pelissero. See ya.